Hi everyone, meteorologist Joe Chaffee here on this Wednesday as we have a fairly nice day underway. It took a little while for the clouds to get out of the coastal areas, but they seem to be doing just that now. And we've got extensive flood watches up. They actually were extended further south into northern Delaware, northeastern Maryland, southwestern New Jersey, all of actually just about all of eastern Pennsylvania, uh, pretty much from the southeast to the northeast, the rest of northern New Jersey, all of New York State. There's going to be some significant flooding in parts of upstate New York with all the rain they've had for the last week. And for Vermont, New Hampshire, you got to remember this area here just got a foot plus of snow back last Friday and into Saturday, and also up from Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Very, very busy day. From the standpoint of severe weather as well. The Storm Prediction Center has this large area of risk for severe thunderstorms. The slight risk into southern Virginia, swooping back up across southwestern West Virginia into Ohio, back through Indiana and southeastern Illinois. And look at the area of enhanced that covers Alabama, Georgia, northern Florida, South Carolina, parts of southern North Carolina, back through eastern Tennessee and Kentucky. And then you also have, marginal risk that goes a little bit further north than that. And this large area of moderate risk for much of the eastern two-thirds of Alabama, most of Georgia, in through Tennessee. And all of this is because of this storm system that's headed toward Illinois. You can see the spinning upper air system here, very well defined, even better defined than the system that just went by, and the one late last week. This one's lifting up to the northeast, and you're starting to see the blow up of thunderstorms occurring across Alabama and Georgia into South Carolina. So this is this is the moisture that's actually going to be trailed up the eastern seaboard over the next 24 hours. And when we look out in the west, you can see the back edge of that comma-shaped cloud structure. Anytime you see something that looks like a comma on a satellite or on a radar, that's usually a sign that there's a pretty strong system here at play. In the west, we've got this stream of moisture. You can take a look at that Pacific jet as it runs southeastward and then kind of bottoms out right through there, and then lifts up northeastward into California, Washington, Oregon, Washington, and into southwestern Canada. The actual storm center is lifting up to the north into the Gulf of Alaska. So action going on both sides of the United States. And when we look at the radar, at the moment, we've got a large area of rain. Here's that comma-shaped structure that I was just describing on the satellite, and you can see it on the radar. And we have, of course, the beginnings of severe weather breaking out across Alabama and Georgia. There's already severe thunderstorm watches up for a good chunk of this area, and there are going to be a lot more as the day wears on. So here's something I haven't used yet. I thought I'd show you. This is the quantitative precipitation forecast, or basically the rainfall amounts forecast this is for today through Friday morning. And you can see the lighter blues, the scales here on the side. So the lightest blue is 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches, and you've got this large area of 1 inch plus rains, with some pockets of 2 and 3 inches being indicated, particularly where you have all that convective area and down where the severe weather is going on. So this is another very wet system. And by the way, for this area in particular, which is my primary focus, New Jersey, specifically central and northern New Jersey, southeastern New York, Long Island, Connecticut, northeastern Pennsylvania. This area, for many people, it's going to be the fourth 1 to 2 inch rainfall that we've seen here in the last 8 days. And I didn't go back specifically to try to find the last time this happened, but I can tell you this: it hasn't happened any time since the middle part of 2015. So it's almost 2 years since we probably put 4 events back to back. And by the way, you can also see out in the west, there's some substantial 2-day amounts for Northern California, just all along the coast of Oregon and into Washington as that next weather system finds its way eastward. So let's see what's going on here as far as the models are concerned. I'm going to switch off to the NAM model first, because that's the newest one we have is coming out now. We won't have a new GFS in time for this video, but we have the NAM at least. And there's your low with the rain, and here's that squall line of thunderstorms that the model prints out, and also some scattered thunderstorms in eastern parts of Georgia and South Carolina, lifting up to the north. And when we move into the overnight hours, you see this blossoming area of rain and probably some embedded thunderstorms that moves through the area from Delaware on up into southern New England. And it's impressive enough as all of this lifts out. This is going to happen, by the way. This rain gets in, at least in New York City, by 4 a.m., and it's probably done by 5 p.m. tomorrow. So it's a solid 12 hours of rain. Also, look where the surface low winds up. As it goes from southern Indiana, it just kind of redevelops there in northern Virginia and then really intensifies. You have a 985 pressure that lifts up into Pennsylvania. And by the way, on the back side, mainly due to the fact that there's cold air aloft here, there is some snow at play in parts of Michigan and northern Ohio. I mean, I don't know how much of this is going to really stick, except maybe in the coldest of areas and on the coldest of surfaces. The air is cold behind this, but we're already into the 5th day of April, and we don't have a really cold air mass behind it to feed into this. So it'll probably be Friday night into Saturday. At least the NAM wants to show an area of snow from West Virginia and on up into eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, and western New York. The NAM at least is showing a decent amount of snow. It might be a bit overdone. When we look at the snowfall amounts, this is all going to be, down here it's all elevation driven. So it's basically a few inches in some places, a few wet inches. Likes to get aggressive up on the Canadian side, where the air might be a little bit colder, but that's up there for you guys. And even there, that snow disappears in a hurry this time of year. By the way, in terms of rainfall, you can see what the NAM produces today. It's pretty bullish with the 2-inch plus rainfall stripes around New York City and in eastern Pennsylvania. And the other models did this last night, and I think that's the reason why the Weather Service extended the flood watch further south. And we also have some pretty heavy amounts up of 2 inches plus in liquids up in northeastern Michigan and to southeastern parts of Canada around Toronto. So I think that's probably why the NAM shows the kind of snows it shows up there. You probably want to take those amounts and at least cut them in half, and maybe a little bit more. You can't. You're not going to be a hero this time of year by trying to guess snowfall amounts in a warming month with not a whole lot of cold air and a high sun angle. So we'll just leave it at that. Now, one of the things that we are noticing, and as far as once this first shot of rain goes by, there'll be a little bit of rain on and off left over on Friday before the low pulls out. But you notice that this high is already down into Virginia, and you've got this strong southwest flow that's starting out back off in the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley and the Middle Mississippi Valley. So this is warm air that's moving up. So we're going to have a little bit of a cool day here on Saturday on the back side of this system pulling out, but it's going to warm up, I believe, in a hurry as we move up into Monday and Tuesday of next week. We're going to string at least 2 warm days here with this west-southwest flow and sunshine. So for those of you that were looking for some warm weather here, you're going to get it for a couple of days. Look at the 2-meter temperatures, and we're not going to see the highs of the day on these models, but we will see what it has for 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, it has every bit of upper 60s, and this time of year in these warming trends with the southwest wind, models can underdo the temperatures by 5 to 10 degrees. So this could be every bit of low to mid 70s in some places on Monday. And on Tuesday, it's printing 70s out. I think it could be, more like 75 or even some odd 80-degree readings. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happens. Now, it wants to hold it on for one more day. There's a cold front, and you can see how the temperatures change over a relatively short distance. There is a cold front here that's coming down with some cooler air behind it. So this is going to be the last warm day in the stretch as we move into early next week. Now, I just want to, as it takes its time loading. Well, okay, so here we are right now. And here's that deep feature right there. That's our system that's coming through. You've got a ridge off the East Coast. You have a ridge back in the Rockies. You've got some ridging up toward Greenland, trough in the Gulf of Alaska. So all the ingredients, you can see how everything goes kind of down and up, down and up, down and up. So, that's a strong stormy pattern when you see that. These deep troughs with strong ridges in between. And that deep trough lifts up into the northeast, and then it opens up and kind of weakens. And as we move into next week, it's replaced by a strong ridge. So we haven't seen this since back in February when we had the ridging along the East Coast, but we've got this strong ridge now building along the East Coast for the early part of next week, and mostly troughing out in the west. So that's a signature of a warming trend here in the eastern states. The cold air in Canada, for at least temporarily, the colder air in Canada is cut off. And going forward, that ridge holds on till about Wednesday. And then you start to see general troughing again here in the eastern states later next week. And you still have some strong energy in the Pacific coming out of the Pacific and moving in there. But then once that trough late next week pulls out, here comes the next ridge. Now we're around April 18th, April 19th, and that's a pretty big warm-up here that's being indicated by the GFS toward the end of the 2-week period, with a deep trough in the west and a strong ridge in the east. And this is, we saw a lot of this in the wintertime, so the model at least wants to go back to this idea of a trough in the western part of the United States. So why don't we look at what it means, let's see what's going on elsewhere, because we do have some action going on in the western part of the United States that we want to call attention to, and so we're going to back it up and get back to the beginning. All right, so here's a storm now. We're now into Friday, and there's a strong low that comes into the Pacific Northwest, and a piece of it actually is shown to be further south near San Francisco. There's a lobe of energy in that part of that jet stream that comes into California. So this is going to mean for significant rains and some mountain snows from probably from central California all the way up into the Pacific Northwest on Friday into Saturday. Some of that tries to translate eastward without too much success, with the pattern now breaking down from what we've had over the last 4 weeks. With these storms moving across. So we're going to probably start seeing precipitation occurring in different areas. It sort of shifts along to the Canadian border here with that ridge in the east. And here's that trough, here's that front for next Wednesday. So we'll probably be able to squeeze Monday, Tuesday, and probably Wednesday will be the 3 warm days. Another system into the Pacific Northwest for the middle of next week. Doesn't look too strong. And then you have some action in the middle of the country. No big storms seem to be shown here. Now, one of the things that the model's been doing, the European did this yesterday, and I want to keep an eye on this. There's some kind of low that's going to form out in the Bahamas. This is a non-tropical system, but with energy dropping down from the north, the models are trying to kind of lift that low up off the East Coast here for late next week, right at April. This is Friday night, April 14th, so 0Z April the 15th. But you can see it's got a nice little low there east of Virginia, south of Long Island, with some rain along the coast. So we're going to want to watch that to see how models handle this. Basically, kind of rotates it around and then ejects it to the east as the next system kicks it along. So, but that's a little gale center that it wants to develop. So let's see how that plays in subsequent model runs and where it takes us. All right, so just a quick review. We've got the flood watches up for much of the Northeast. And we also have this pretty large area of risk for severe weather here today for the southeastern part and up into the southern areas of the Mid-Atlantic I'll quickly punch up tomorrow's risk forecast so we can take a look, because I don't want to leave that out. There will be some severe weather extending a little further north. So the Storm Prediction Center for Thursday has enhanced risk in southeastern Virginia, northeastern North Carolina, with slight risk up to southern New Jersey, and a marginal risk up almost to New York City. So we're going to pay attention to that as this next storm system approaches. All right, latest posts on meteorologistjoechaffee.com. Angry Ben has New York City covered on nycweathernow.com. And if you're new to my YouTube channel, welcome. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button on my channel page. It's absolutely free, and you'll get notifications anytime new videos come out, which is at least once a day. And of course, you can download my app and subscribe to my forecast, specifically for New York City, Long Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Hudson Valley, and Eastern Pennsylvania. The app is free. The subscription is just 99 cents a month, and the link comes up at the top of the screen here, and you can click to it and go to Google Play or to iTunes. All right, everybody, have a great Wednesday. Be safe, and we will talk to you tomorrow.